Okay. Good morning. Yes, it's still morning. I want to welcome you to another edition of Papa Bear. We're continuing our conversation about fatherhood, about the things that fathers go through and what it means to be a father. And hopefully all of us can be better fathers as a result. I'm here with a very good friend of mine who will introduce himself.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Naphthali, and I am married to Mary, and we have 3 children.
You don't have to mention their names though.
Yes. 8 years old,
Yep.
6 years old, and 3 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
So Naphthali and I have been friends for a long time. We've worked together. We've done ministry together. I thought it'd be good to have you come onto the show today and just have a brief conversation. We've been talking over the last last video actually about the issue of unexpected outcomes.
Yes.
And it's really a situation where an expected fatherhood doesn't go the way it was planned or the way it was initially envisioned.
Yeah.
And you have some experience with that.
Yes.
Maybe you can just share briefly what your experience has been.
Okay. My experience in fatherhood, one of the quotes that I like is, when your first child is born, that's when a father is born. Because before that, you have never been a father.
It's just theory.
So I could say I'm an 8-year-old dad because my firstborn is 8.
That's interesting. Never looked at it that way.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And our journey, our unexpected journey in parenting and in fatherhood for me especially, was with our firstborn. And he was born, and for us he was a normal child for a long time, at least for the first 15 months, until we were concerned that he was not able to walk by himself.
Okay.
And so after consultation with doctors and specialists, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
Wow.
But still that was on the mild state.
Okay.
I think for me, the first time I was told that, I wasn't shocked because first I didn't even know what that was. So I had to go and read.
You Google it.
And Googled, and after reading, that's when it dawned on me. And I remember feeling undone because it had implications on my son's ability to move and to walk by himself.
Okay.
And as a father, I had the picture of playing football with him outside, and all those dreams now were changing, and it was into something that I didn't even know. Already I was a new dad. I didn't know what being a father was.
Yeah.
And I was learning on the job, and then now this having a son with cerebral palsy and special needs, that meant we need to care for him and go on a path that not many people go.
So let me just ask this. So what exactly is cerebral palsy?
So cerebral palsy is a broad term that means brain damage, and that actually happens during the process of birth. So the fetus, the baby coming out, didn't get enough oxygen, and for us it was due to prolonged labor, and that then affects the movement part of the body, and it can range from very mild, not noticeable, to severe.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the people who have cerebral palsy, and you can't tell.
Yes, you'd need to look closely to see or talk to them, and you realize they have a slur in the way they speak, or just some the way they move. That was affected.
So it affects mostly movement. So somebody's mind can be completely okay, but you can't move.
And depending on the range of severity, and I'm not talking as an expert,
Dr. Naphthali.
talking as
well, you kind of are an expert. I mean,
I know.
It's been 8 years.
But when you're an 8-year-old dad, when you're a parent, you have to study many things,
Yes.
pediatrics.
Yes.
And for us now, it was neurology.
Wow.
We had to also understand what our son was going through.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it does affect the movement part of things, and depending on the severity from mild to severe, some children's cognitive function may also be affected.
Okay.
And so for us, initially, David was able to move and crawl by himself.
Yeah.
And climb onto the chair and get down. But then it also comes with predisposition to some conditions. And for us, it was seizures, where he would get a seizure at night, and we would find he's having a seizure and have to rush him to hospital.
Wow.
And
Is that what triggered the sort of the diagnosis? Up until that point, you didn't know that it was cerebral palsy, or was it the other way around? But
the diagnosis we had before, but then he started having seizures after.
I see.
After
I
the
see.
diagnosis.
Because it mentioned that there's something about 15 months. So in
Yes,
that
so
time, did you know he had
no,
cerebral palsy?
we did not know.
Okay.
And we treated him the way you would treat a normal child.
Any child.
Any child.
Yeah. And so what triggered it? What made you?
It was just the developmental milestones.
Okay.
As a new parent, who were keen on seeing, okay, at 15 months, he should be able to start walking, by himself. And so we got concerned then because it was late. It was sort of slightly delayed.
Okay.
And when we saw our pediatrician, he said to give it a bit more time.
Yeah.
And so at 18 months is when I think we got the actual diagnosis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here you are. The seizures had already started happening, or they happened after?
Yes.
They already started happening by that point.
Yeah.
So what's going through your mind at that point in time? You've just been told that your son has this condition that he's going to live with for the rest of his life.
Like I said earlier, first my mind was blank because I didn't know what that was. And it was not until I read up about it that it dawned on me. But because his case was mild initially, we didn't think much of it. We were naive, and we thought we would do intense physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and he'll be able to walk.
Okay.
And he would be among those who have cerebral palsy, but you wouldn't notice. In fact, when we told our friends of the diagnosis, many of them were shocked because the picture generally many people have of cerebral palsy is more towards the severe side of things.
Yeah.
And so even for us, we thought, in 6 months we will
Yes. We'll sort it out and
we'll do therapy, intense therapy, and our son will be all right.
Yeah.
But then now the seizures started.
Okay.
And that sort of made him even deteriorate, lose much of his motor skills that he had.
Okay.
So he was able to hold his head, sit up on a chair without support. But because of the many seizures and even just the management of them, he lost that.
Wow.
So I think it's one of those things that you're in a daze. You don't know what's going on, and you're on autopilot. You just, as a dad, you're doing what you need to do. Just the next thing. If you need to be in hospital, you're in hospital.
Yeah.
You go, and I think, don't even have time to process. What am I feeling?
Yeah.
What am I going through? And as we've discovered, for many families with special needs children, sadly, that's time, because being a man, you cannot fix this thing. Many dads then just walk away of the marriage, and we found that many children, special needs children, are taken care of by their mothers.
Yeah.
So I ended up being an odd one out when I would go to clinic, and I would be there with my wife, or I would be there with my son.
Yeah.
Or I'm around surrounded with all these mothers, or we go to therapy center and there are no dads. I think painful thing as a man is there is a problem with my son and I can't fix it.
Yeah.
I'm helpless. You know.
That's a difficult thing to
That's a
to
difficult
process,
thing
I can
to
imagine.
process.
Was there ever, I hope this is not a very sensitive question, but was there ever a sense of blame? Did you ever feel like this was your fault? Was that ever a dynamic in the equation? Or was there ever that, between you and your wife, was there ever that thing of this was you? Or
I think
was that ever
the thought of had we, done this during the birth process, especially requested for a cesarean section much earlier, that would have been stopped. But ultimately, we honestly spoke to ourselves and realized we did the best we could with what knowledge and ability we had at that time.
Yeah.
And now in retrospect, if we knew then what we know now, then probably, we would have done something different.
Yeah.
But like that quote I like, when a child is born, a dad is born. You learn on the job.
True.
You don't know what will be required of you.
That's true.
When your child is 15.
You don't know.
When your child is 18.
Yeah.
And you just, grow up with them. The children who get the benefit are actually the second born and the third born, because you are a bit years ahead. You're more experienced, you have some track record to fall back on.
Yeah.
But with your first child, son or daughter, it's just, live action.
Yeah.
You're on. And you're like, oh, okay.
Action.
What do I do?
Okay.
How do I change the diapers? What do you do when the child is sick? And all those questions. But the second one finds you and you're a pro. And so, in that sense, we have ended up becoming pros for other parents with special needs who are coming up.
So the people who come to you and they kind of
so we have walked with and talked to and counseled other families with special needs children, and helped them through the process of just accepting their condition and the challenges that comes with, be it financial, medical, and just the time commitment, energy to be a caregiver now, apart from a parent, dedicated caregiver for one of your children, possibly for the rest of their lives. So it's a difficult journey. It's like you got into your Porsche on a smooth road, and then suddenly you're on off-road. And you're like, I don't have the car for it. This is not the right car.
You have to go back
and get your SUV, but this is what you have. And so your car transforms into an SUV as you go.
So there's a sense of that you don't know what to deal with. Every day sort of comes with its own. There's no sense of I have the long-term plan. With your son, it's sort of like an everyday thing, every day at a time.
It's one day at a time. And do what you know. And next year we will know more than we know this year. And we will wish then that we knew what we knew then.
Back then.
But we have, even because of the muscles being affected, he has to have proper posture and support for his limbs, and going through different technicians to find the right one who makes the right one. And we always joke with my wife and say 5,000 or 10,000 shillings later you find the right one. It's not that you go to the right place and find it, but it will be trial and error
you discover
as you go
along. And I can imagine, because he needs to be in a special kind of wheelchair.
He has to. Right now, so he's now on a wheelchair. And even that we had to research and discover. But I have to also acknowledge that we found help. I remember when we got the initial diagnosis, we went to a friend whose sister has a special needs daughter, and we went to her house the first time we were sort of in a daze,
Yeah.
and she took us through what that would look like, and pointed us in the direction of which specialist to see.
Yeah.
And that was for us like when you walk into a dark room and you can't see anything. You don't know where the light switch is. You're trying to reach out for it, and then someone switches
on the light, and it's just...
and that is what she was for her. And so you're so this is it.
That's where that is. So that's that.
Because she told us, you need to see a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, and all those people we had.
You had
no idea.
Yeah.
And in ordinary journey of raising children, not every parent sees a physiotherapist, speech therapist, occupational therapist.
I've 3 kids. I've never seen any of them.
Pediatric neurologist, and we've had to look for one pediatric neurologist and seek another opinion, and all these other specialists. It was like a world that existed, and we didn't know it existed until we got our son, and he ushered us into that world, and we became aware. And now when we walk in the streets, in the supermarkets, we see children and say, that one has this condition. We can tell, that one has this condition. And our hearts goes up with them, with empathy to their parents. And it's not easy. It's not easy because it is a logistical challenge going anywhere with him, because you have to get the wheelchair, put it on a chair, put him on the chair, put him in the car, go around, and always conscious of everyone staring or looking.
Do you get that?
Oh yeah.
People looking at you and like...
Yeah, when we are with him, every time we know people will be staring, and those who have courage enough to come and ask, we share the story.
Is it awkward for you when someone come and asks you what's going on here? Do you feel like is it something that you'd encourage other people to do?
I think what happens is many people look at the situation and they don't know what to do. They would want to help, but because they're not in that world, they wouldn't know what to do or what to say. And so asking
You must have brought us
is the
now.
most kind thing.
Hey, please excuse us, we are doing a video. Please excuse us. I'll have to cut that out.
So asking is the kindest thing. Just ask. And we see that especially with the little children. They come and say, what's wrong with your son? Why is he like this? And why is he like that? And I know that's what many people ask with their stares, but
people don't have the courage.
People don't have the courage to ask.
I think for many people, it's they feel awkward. They feel like you would feel embarrassed by the question, so they choose not to ask it. Not knowing that it's also a sense of comfort, in a sense, for you to answer the question when someone comes and expresses genuine concern or interest.
And to talk about we call it the elephant in the room.
What would you say to a man out there who's either dealing with the situation or who's afraid that he's not sure whether his son, what he's seeing is a possible disability or a special needs situation, or someone who's out there who has a son or child with special needs? What would you say to them? How would you encourage them from your experience?
First, for the fathers who are sticking in their families and coming in when they're most needed, because men are supposed to be a pillar of strength, and especially when there's a huge challenge in the family, that's when your strength is most needed. And those who have courageously stayed and walked with their families, I say you are my heroes. Keep up the good work.
Superman.
Yes, super dad. and for those who are starting this journey, I would say if you have someone in your life who has a special needs child, it helps to reach out to them for help, because You cannot do this by yourself.
Yeah.
And also, if you are afraid to find out, it won't help burying your head in the sand, and especially for special needs situations, some of the conditions, early intervention helps the child and increases the chances of the child's quality of life being better. And so the earlier you find out what exactly the case is and start doing the necessary things, seeing the necessary professionals, the better for your child and the better for you, because then you will move on. As men, we are known to withdraw into our cocoon when we are faced with a challenge, but I think it calls for us to step in even when we do not know what to do. And as we go on, if you believe in God, God will give you strength and courage to face the challenges, and you become a hero for someone else looking up to you. So that's what I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Naphthali.
Thank you.
I know this is not an easy conversation.
Yeah, but thank you for having me.
No problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, guys. Being a father is not easy. It's even harder when you have to deal with unexpected outcomes. But the key thing is to get in there and to be part of the process. Don't bury your head in the sand. Don't assume things are going to change. Get in there and deal with it one day at a time. That's what it takes to be a dad. So as usual, if you have any comments, please make them at the bottom of the video. If you have anything you want to contribute, please share, please like, please subscribe to the channel, and let's keep this conversation going. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.